Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020. We started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory. I really had some incredible opportunities, some people that I just admire so much and inspire me. And today we have another one of those. But this individual, just so incredible. His journey, his friendship too means the world to me. I just want to welcome Glenn, and I mean, it's so amazing to. I feel like I should have came with a lay on, but we're here in Hawaii. I'm in the U.S., but it's such a we watch American Idol, we love Hawaii, and our dream someday is to come visit. But we're going to add that we want to visit you personally. So again, thanks for joining us, and again, feel free to just jump right in and let's talk a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah, thank you, George, for the introduction, and yeah, we'd love to have you and all of your listeners and viewers anytime that they want to come to Hawaii. We'd love to have you and as our guest here in our beautiful state. My name is Glen Higa. I'm the president of the Hawai'i Parkinson Association. I'm born and raised here in Honolulu. I'm what we call here in Hawaii a local boy or a brada, as we like to call each other guys and they're from here. Graduate from the University of Hawaii. My girlfriend Edie and I will make 20 years together this year. We've raised twin daughters. Dr. Tori Nakashima, who is a veterinarian, and First Lieutenant Tani Nakashima, who is a in the Hawaii Army National Guard. And yeah, prior to being diagnosed with Parkinson's about 6 years ago, I had a 20-year sales career, specializing in advertising and sports marketing. And that's basically my story in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love the background on sports. I actually did a master's in sports. I watched the movie Jerry Maguire and I thought I was going to do that. Then I realized how difficult it is to kind of break into the world. And, but I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Before we get into the actual association, maybe you could talk a little bit about, where you were. I know it's sometimes tough to recall because you don't might want not want to keep bringing it up, but when you saw the first signs of Parkinson's, I don't know if you had experience before even hearing of it or being diagnosed, but maybe can just tell the viewers who are out there, maybe if someone out there listening is just being diagnosed, maybe you have some words for them.
Sure. So I was having some stiffness and rigidity in my shoulders and in my neck for a couple years before I was officially diagnosed, and other people had noticed that I was shuffling my feet a lot and not swinging my arms, but no one put two and two together that it was Parkinson's. Went to my new primary care doctor, and she said, and I also had some tremors in my hand, and she said, I think you have an essential tremor. It's probably not serious. If you want to go to see a neurologist, you can, but you don't really have to. That was her opinion. So I didn't go. 2 years went by, and still nothing was resolved. So finally, she said, maybe you should go to see a neurologist just to rule things out. And so I did. In the meantime, I had gone through physical therapy, and the physical therapist that I was seeing said, I'm not a doctor in this, but you are showing the signs of Parkinson's disease. And that was the first time I had ever thought of it, or thought that that might be it might be a condition that I had. Finally went to see a neurologist after 6 months of waiting for an appointment to pop up. And within 45 minutes, she gave me the diagnosis: you have Parkinson's. And so, but she reassured me that it was something that wasn't fatal, that I could live with it. And at my age at that time, I was 40, just about to turn 48 years old. And she said, you can live 30, 40 years with this condition. Not going to always be a smooth ride, not going to always be fun, but I can live with it. And she's been right so far. After about 6 years, I have been able to live with it. I've been able to live my best life with it. And that's been my mission, is to help others live their best life with Parkinson's as well.
I appreciate it. And again, I remember we're always right by your side fighting for a cure. So I appreciate all you do. And you're really, again, I think not just an advocate, but a hero for so many, people out there. Sometimes, at least my mother and I felt alone when we were going through our struggle. But knowing that you're out there really does raise awareness, but also brings a really I always say like a shining light, on so many so I'm so grateful for that. What are some of the major areas of things that you think that have helped you live your best life with Parkinson? And also, I haven't been to Hawaii. I'm in Florida, so I feel like we're a little like Hawaii, just the weather. But how is the healthcare in Hawaii in terms of, I mean, you're doing well, you said. Do you think they're doing pretty advanced with the treatments for Parkinson's or even the healthcare system?
We are fortunate that we have about four and soon to be five movement disorder specialists. Some communities and around the rest of the country don't have anyone, or they have very limited supply of resources here. And I also live in Honolulu, which is where most of the movement MDS doctors are located. So I'm very fortunate from that standpoint. From a treatment standpoint, we have a few exercise classes available for people through the YMCA and through other private gyms and so forth. We do have about five rock steady boxing locations. We also have a gym that's dedicated exclusively to people with Parkinson's called Fitness Therapy Hawaii. And so from an exercise standpoint, it is pricey, but it is well worth it, and that's where I receive my exercise program from, and that probably helped me tremendously probably more than anything else. I would say is the exercise portion. In terms of like care for the neighbor islands that we have here in Hawaii, they're lacking in a lot of resources. So a lot of the people that live on the other islands or in rural communities here on the island of Oahu, they struggle with getting adequate care because there is no doctors available in those communities. So that's where it becomes pricey because they would need to travel from neighbor islands to Honolulu for treatment with a movement disorder specialist, or they need to see a neurologist on their home island who may or may not have any specialization in Parkinson's.
I appreciate it. And one thing, unfortunately, with Parkinson's, at least my mother also went through this, is sometimes people don't see the symptoms, so they don't realize how much of a struggle it is. I have to commend you because you look like you're in better shape than me. So obviously that leads us into one area you mentioned was how important exercise is. When my mother struggled, she had it for 15 years and she did have a little gym in her home, but by the time the disease kind of progressed, even if you go into specific care, they don't allow physical therapy. And I think that the number one thing individuals with Parkinson's need is hope, and having physical therapy or exercise is that hope. So maybe you could touch a little bit about how you're such good shape, better than me, and how important exercise is for people with Parkinson, but also specifically, in your life.
So exercise is very important for people with Parkinson's. It's the only thing that is scientifically proven to slow down, or even delay the progression of Parkinson's disease. It's one of the three things that I believe allows me to live my best life with Parkinson's. Um, it's allowed me to continue playing slow pitch softball, which is very therapeutic for me because it's the one time during the day that I don't feel like I have Parkinson's usually. So when I step in the batter's box, it's only just me and the pitcher, and where am I going to hit the ball, and I'm not thinking about is my swing doing good or not. I'm just concentrating hitting. Um, and lately now I've been doing really well, and so it's allowed me to play defense more. So instead of just hitting and running the bases, I'm playing outfield again. I'm playing second base again, and I'm doing really well with that. But the most important thing to do for exercise is you need to find the right exercise program for you. And there's a lot of recommendations out there in terms of what would be good for what exercise is good for you, how many minutes that you should be doing every week, the level of intensity and so forth. And all that is very important, but finding the right exercise program that you will enjoy and will do every day is probably the best exercise that you can do for yourself. So if I could give you any tips for exercise for everybody, I would say for Parkinson's especially is to move big, make big movements, move fast, move with intent, repeat, but also learn something new. And when it comes to exercise, it's never too soon to start exercising. It's never too late to start exercising.
Yeah, I always say even for caregivers. I mean, it's not just, it's
Yeah,
for everybody
yeah,
because you need to, I didn't,
everybody. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, there were some days as a caregiver and today as an advocate, I don't follow the golden rule, which is take care of yourself first, because
yeah.
I knew my mother really felt only safe when I was by her side. So I really didn't mind sacrificing a lot because she did for me in my life. And even today as an advocate, I always feel like if let's say we couldn't make it today and we had to postpone, well, I would break my heart because I feel like even if we just reach one person, then we would have changed the world. So sometimes I
Mhm.
don't follow that golden rule of the health, but I think the health fitness is so important. So thank you. Something I want to shift to, which is really fascinating, is every country and every state and every person might have a different journey. One shocking one, which I'll be speaking to, is a gentleman from Africa, where they actually believe Parkinson's is witchcraft, which is obviously incorrect. So we need to break the stigma by talking about an awareness. So my question would be the culture and concealment, as we discussed before, among the Asian, Native Hawaiian, and Polynesian communities with Parkinson's. So maybe you can kind of, since you're more of the obvious expert, maybe you can touch on those areas.
Sure. So, here in Hawaii, we have a melting pot of ethnicities where no one ethnicity is the majority. Everyone is a minority. I think from an Asian standpoint, I think 30% of the population is of Filipino descent, and I think it's like it's anywhere between like 25 and 35%. It's like Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, so forth. And then you have Caucasians make up about 20%, and Native Hawaiians and Polynesians, interestingly enough, make up less than that. So so unfortunately, the culture of many ethnicities here involve a concealment of things that we hold private, and one of those things that we hold private is our health. So in the Asian, Native Hawaiian, and Polynesian communities, that really does involve not disclosing or sharing your health related issues, especially ones with perceived stigmas such as Parkinson's. So it's an issue that prevents many people from seeking out proper diagnosis, care, and treatment. So we at the Hawai'i Parkinson Association are working really hard to eliminate this stigma, and the way that we're doing it primarily is really by showcasing myself as a Parkinson's patient. I'm working to promote a future where people in Hawaii don't feel ashamed or afraid to disclose their condition. Just yesterday, in fact, I was on one of our morning TV shows, morning news TV shows, and with another gentleman who's going to be attempting a bike ride from sea level up the summit of Haleakala, which is 10,000 feet up, and he's going to be doing this race on next week Saturday, or this coming Saturday, and he's going to try and do this in 6 hours with Parkinson's.
Oh.
So it's a 36-mile race, straight uphill, as much as 18% grade on this journey. So really proud of him. He's another guy. He's a local Polynesian, Native Hawaiian, and just to see the two of us on set, on TV, just I think could make a huge impact in terms of other people who are like us, local guys, young guys that have Parkinson's, and just to say that you're not alone, that there's nothing to be ashamed of, that you can live your best life with Parkinson's.
I mean, what you are doing and that gentleman are breaking barriers, and by speaking up and being on TV publicly and even being with us today, it's really breaking ground and so important because again, like we mentioned earlier, we need advocates, and that's how we come closer to awareness and hope for a cure. So thank you for that, and please tell them we send our support. I can't do that again without Parkinson's. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, never learned how to ride a bicycle, and now I regret it because I have my own medical issues, and I wish I could ride a bicycle today because I think my running career is over. But thanks for that. One other area that you actually brought up, which is really interesting, is my dream again is to visit and travel to Hawaii. But maybe as a person with Parkinson's, you can talk about, is it, difficult to travel? Maybe we'll get to meet at the World Parkinson Congress in 2026 in Arizona. I hope we get to meet, but maybe you could talk because we don't cover. I could probably both of us could do a whole show on traveling, but maybe you can kind of just hint a little bit about. I don't know if you travel a lot, or is it more of a difficult event to travel out of Hawaii or into Hawaii?
Yeah, so I do travel quite often. I I get out of Hawaii maybe about, I would say, 4 or 5 times a year, which is
Mm.
pretty big, pretty much a lot for here in Hawaii. It is a far distance from here to the West Coast. I think from here to San Francisco is about 4.5 hour flight. From here to Los Angeles about 6 hours, about 5 hour flight, and I think the farthest we can go is I think JFK or uh, or Newark, which is about I think it's about a 12 hour flight. So yeah, so it is it can be difficult, but also manageable. So some few helpful hints that I can share with people that no matter how far your journey is, if you're flying, if you're traveling by train, if you're driving, first thing I would say is pack as light as possible. Okay, make sure that your bag is not so heavy that you have a hard time carrying it. With you. Second, and this is probably one of the most important, is that if you are on medication, make sure you have enough medication, and then pack extra just in case. Just in case you get delayed, you get stranded, you get COVID, and you need to quarantine for a few days extra. So I would do it for that, and also for your peace of mind as well. And also keep in mind that different time zone changes can happen, and so sometimes that might cause your day to be even longer than you expected. Okay, so for instance, if you're flying west, say from California to Hawaii, you have a time zone change where you gain an additional couple hours. So, but that also affects your time of your medication as well, right? So you have to account for that. Um, some of the things that I would recommend is if you're flying or traveling by train, go for an aisle seat, okay, if you can. Easier to get up and back into your seat if you need to use the restroom. Easier to stretch your legs, especially for people with Parkinson's. We get stiff a lot, so go for an aisle seat instead of the middle or the window seat, or if possible, if you can afford it, fly first class. That's always the best option as well. If you need mobility assistance, ask ahead of time for a porter or board early when they ask you if you need extra time to board. And then when you get to your destination, allow yourself some extra time to get acclimated to the time difference. Give yourself a chance to rest. If you for me, I'm always better in the mornings and versus the late afternoons and the evenings. So if you want to start your day earlier and go and do sightseeing in the mornings, if that's better for you, then I would say stick to that schedule, and then kind of wind down at night.
I mean, this is amazing. Why? Because I've done about 700 interviews, maybe just about 40, 50 podcasts, but no one's ever mentioned travel. That's like one of the
Mm.
literally, maybe people like me don't travel a lot, but that's so important. And the tips you just gave, we need to have them put in a book. So there you go. Because I don't hear a lot of people talk about travel, and that's something that people do every day for work, for family, for holiday, for just vacation. It's so important. Now I'd like to shift to one of the most important things today, and it's what your shirt says, which I love, and that's the Hawaii Parkinson's Association. So I'm going to share, if you don't mind, a little bit more through your work. First, we'll actually start with the Hawaii Parkinson's Association page on Facebook. So everyone, please support Glenn and all he does, and everyone in Hawaii or around the world that is struggling with this disease. So maybe, Glenn, you can just talk a little bit about the association as I scroll, and then tell everyone, I mean, here they can see it, but maybe you can also touch on how they can reach you, how they can support you. But this is very important to you, to me, and to the world. So take it away.
Yeah, so the mission of Hawaii Parkinson Association is to positively impact the lives of people affected by Parkinson's disease. And we do this through support, education, programs, and other services. So really the key message in that is people affected by Parkinson's disease, because not only are people who have Parkinson's affected, but it affects care partners, it affects family, it affects children, it affects colleagues if they're still working, it affects neighbors, it affects friends. So here in Hawaii, there's an estimated 8,000 people who have Parkinson's, and just extrapolating out that data, that probably means that we impact the lives of about 50 to 75,000 people here in Hawaii. You know, Parkinson's is the second fastest growing neurological disorder in the United States. Hawaii is no different, and in fact, our one of our leading research entities, the Queens Medical Center Neuroscience Institute, which is a Parkinson's Foundation Center of Excellence, has come out with a statement saying that they project the number of Parkinson's cases here in Hawaii to double in just 6 years, from 8,000 to 16,000 people. So it's my goal as president of the Hawaii Parkinson Association to assure that no one living with Parkinson's is left to face this condition alone or in isolation. And I believe it's an advocacy that we can all share together. So one of the best ways that we can do this is to increase the number of support groups that we have here in Hawaii. So right now we have 10 support groups on 3 islands soon, and we're increasing that number as we speak, and we've increased it by 3 support groups already this year. We're working on launching as much as 4 or 5 more this year, including one in Maui that we lost because the person running our support group there lost her home in the wildfires of Lahaina, so she moved away from Hawaii to live in California now, and we wish her the best. But you know, so we need to increase our support groups for people in the island of Maui as well.
I see you doing some amazing things, even getting involved with the legislature. I just kind of jumped to me, the law enforcement dementia training bill. I'm actually finishing a book now on policing and Parkinson's in the US, and how very important it is that right now, and I won't get into it too long because this is about you, but right now in all the academies, police academy in the United States, they mention dementia and Alzheimer's, but not Parkinson's. And my dream would be to get the word, just the word, Parkinson's disease put into every academy training throughout the US for police, because I feel that not only, it's not really a bad thing for police, it's to bring positive awareness, but they can save lives, and they can also be more supportive, because right now they're not aware. So I think what you're doing there, and what we're hoping to also hear, you know, all this stuff is just a benefit. So thank you again for
Right.
what you're doing. Here's a picture also of the support group.
Yeah. So one thing about the law enforcement dementia training is that bill did not pass the
Well,
legislature this year.
we needed to.
However, the one that did pass that we were partnering with the Alzheimer's Association of Hawaii was on the Silver Alert bill,
All right.
and that did pass, and that brings Hawaii into a great number of states, majority of states that actually have this program. So Silver Alert is basically, it's like an Amber Alert for seniors or for adults with developmental disabilities, one of which Parkinson's is considered one of them. And basically what is if a senior goes missing for a period of time, the law enforcement can issue a alert through social media, through media, other means to alert people that this particular person has been missing for a set amount of hours, and it'll help prevent or reduce the number of seniors who go missing and never found again. So we're really proud of our effort to get that passed, that legislation passed, and along with our advocacy efforts as part of the Michael J. Fox Foundation Unified Parkinson Advisory Committee. So we were a part of that committee that also helped to pursue the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act, which is now should be on President Biden's desk as we speak.
Well, thanks for all your work and the whole entire association. Maybe if you have time, send me some information on that silver alert, because I'd love to research it and even add it as a passage in my book, because I've done a lot of research around the United States and there's not enough for it. So knowing that your work is going into it, I'd love to have you also in the book. So after this concludes, we'll probably have to touch base on that, but that's some incredible work. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as everyone here listening, please, you can go to the link tree for Hawai'i Parkinson's Association and join the website, the support group, and also to donate. Very important. I also want to thank Glenn, of course. I feel like we're family because I've known you for some time. You were gracious enough back in February. It shows how quickly time goes. I feel like we've known each other so many for years, but it's only been, I mean, it goes fast, but he was just kind enough to join me for an interview. So feel free to review that interview at TogetherForSharon.com. All you do is click interviews and you'll see Glenn. And then a page I follow with my heart and enjoy is Glenn on Instagram, which really, again, brings you into the nicer, softer side. And not only Parkinson's, so I'm going to stop sharing. And that's where we moved in our talk about more about Glenn the man, the myth. So maybe we could just get right into it. And this one's a tough one for some, but can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
3 words that describe who I am.
You're allowed to pass and come back.
I would say it's 3 words that describe me. I would say partner, father, advocate.
Yeah, those are amazing. And then the next follow-up, what is one moment or one most memorable moment that stands out through all your work so far with awareness?
The one thing that stands out so far in my awareness, I would say, is really becoming president of the Hawai'i Parkinson Association, because what that does is that it puts a face of Parkinson's that we've never had before. It's rare for someone that in my generation and in my ethnic background to be so open and honest about having Parkinson's. And again, it goes back to the culture of concealment. I tell people, I said, if my mom was alive today, she never had Parkinson's. Nobody in my family has any history of Parkinson's. So there's and I don't have any of the environmental factors that supposedly are some of the causes of Parkinson's. So I have no idea how I got this. But if my mom was alive today, I think she'd be proud of me for what I'm doing with the advocacy work. But she'd also be telling me, don't tell people that you have Parkinson's. Keep it to yourself. Don't tell your friends, don't tell your employers, don't tell your colleagues at work, don't even tell most of your family. And so I think she'd be proud of me, but I think she would also be like, what are you doing? Don't do this. Kind of a thing. So I'm really proud of the fact that I've been called an inspiration to many, just when you think no one is watching, I've been told that I've been inspiring to a lot of people. So that's really what I'm proud of, and that's what keeps me going and keeps me keeps me, humble.
I really appreciate you sharing that with your mom because I had similar. My mother was very independent. She was sometimes strong, but didn't really want to tell anyone about her issues. And I don't know if it's because of fear, wonder what would happen, or she didn't want to burden us. And sometimes I wish she did because if I had learned more earlier, could have, you can't look back and regret it, but you never know. But even with advocacy today, I always joke, my mother would say, George, don't do all this. Don't waste your time and go spend it with your family. But as we didn't, they didn't raise us to just kind of sit back and move on. That's not us and it's not in our blood. So we got to
Right.
keep fighting on. And together we're just so much stronger, our voices. So next area is, this is one of my favorite questions because not just as a caregiver, but during times of your struggle, I was a caregiver. What tips can you give to caregivers and who do you rely on the most, during those tougher times?
The advice I would give to care partners is understand that we are trying, that as people with Parkinson's, we are trying to make their lives as easy as possible. We're trying to be independent as possible. But there are times where it just doesn't happen. It's tough. It's tough for us to get by on a daily basis. I've been told that I make Parkinson's look easy, but the truth is that it's not. Um, we have good days and bad days just like everybody, but we also have good hours and bad hours, just like everybody as well. If we lash out, we have mood swings. It's not really us that's doing it. It's Parkinson's that's doing it. I tell the people that I work with or the people that Parkinson's, that I feel that Parkinson's is a living, breathing thing that's inside of us, and it's working hard against us as people with Parkinson's on an everyday basis, every minute, every hour of the day, 7 days a week. And so, it's always with us. When we travel, it goes with us. When we go to work, it goes to work with us. And we come back at home, it stays at home with us. So, um, be firm, be kind, and be compassionate, but be be honest about how we make you feel as well. And just know that when we do things that are not right. A lot of times it's the Parkinson's and it's not us.
And who do you rely on the most, when you're struggling? Do you have, I mean, again, a lot of time it's family, but maybe you have one
Mhm.
particular person.
When I'm struggling, it's always my girlfriend who's my biggest supporter, who's my soulmate, my my care partner as well, and so I rely on her as well. But I also have a really good support system of people with Parkinson's.
Mhm.
I have a bunch of friends who have Parkinson's, who I've made friends with ever since I've been diagnosed, and we rely on each other a lot as well. But yeah, it starts and ends with my girlfriend Edie, and you know and who basically is, unfortunately for her, she's living Parkinson's along with me.
Well, tell her we send our love and support to her too. I always like to ask that question because it brings the people in the background out to the forefront and we thank them and love them too. So thank her for us. But uh, here's another area I always find fascinating. Is there something looking back 10 years or even a few years that you might have done differently, or do you think you still would have done everything just the same as terms of awareness?
I think I would have done everything the same. Yeah, I think I've done things the right way in terms of awareness. Um, when I've been the president of HPA, Hawaii Parkinson Association, for about a year and a half now, maybe a little bit less than that. And when I first decided to run for the president position, I kind of did it because I felt like no one else is going to do it, so I guess I should do it. And then I realized that that's actually a bad reason to become president. So I thought about it more, and I said, I need to do this because I need to prove to people that we are all in this together. That that we cannot leave anybody alone or in isolation. I look back at one of my friends who I made who I made friends with, who basically had Parkinson's for 5 years and didn't know anyone else who had Parkinson's, and that was shocking to me when she told me that. So, so immediately we became friends. Got her into an exercise program with me. She started volunteering at events that we had for Hawaii Parkinson Association, and now she's going to run in a support group. She's mentoring other people who have Parkinson's, and she's become a real leader in the Parkinson community as well. So that's probably, that was validation, that right there, that we are on the right track, and that we're doing good things for good people.
Thanks. And I think and you mentioned one of the top ways to better promote Parkinson's awareness is to really teaming up, because I think we have to be a family in this fight for a cure. Majority of people agree. Unfortunately, I found a few that for some odd reason are in their own world and want to stay that way, which I don't get, but that's good for them. So one thing I do want to commend and thank you again is how open arms you were to joining me and really just sending me support, which we send right back at you. Is there any areas that you think that we can improve as a society or culture around the world where we can all better kind of team up and work together? Because I feel that, again, together our voices are so much stronger.
I think we're doing a really good job both collectively. This is such a complex condition. I mean, we've done research for a number of years now, and we still haven't pinpointed exactly where Parkinson's starts, and how it starts. And but I know we're getting closer. We're getting closer every day. New research has been coming out. I think where we need to do better is, especially for us in Hawaii, is we need to educate people more, and not people who have Parkinson's, but people who don't have Parkinson's, but people who work with people or work or deal with people with Parkinson's. Just explain to them that that it's not just all about tremors, and it's not all about rigidity. That there is so many non-motor symptoms, which I believe is worse than dealing with the tremors. I tell them, I say, tremors, dyskinesia, bradykinesia, I can deal with, I can handle it. It's the non-motor symptoms that come along with it that are not very well understood and are overlooked by a lot of people. So educating people on those things, educating healthcare professionals on the importance of medication on time, I think is important as well. And then just from a standpoint of reaching out to people to prove that they are not alone, and they have there is support out there. I think is also key as well. So I think those three aspects I think are really important, not just here in Hawaii, but everywhere in the world.
I think it's fascinating. You brought up a few things so far this talk that I kind of think every day. And one of the main ones is how I try, and I've done about other people's podcasts, about 60 or 70 in just 2 months, which not easy, but I try to reach individuals who do not have Parkinson's and individuals who are not aware of Parkinson's, because I feel that if we bring everyone into this conversation, we'll be closer to a cure. And you're one of the first people also kind of mirrors that and said that. And I think that's so important that everyone out there does the same, because, we have an incredible Parkinson's community, whether it's advocates or people with Parkinson. But if we all just stay within our community, we might have a trouble getting the voice out. But by bringing everyone else out there together, I think it moves the world. So thanks for bringing that up. Just a few more last minute areas. This is my favorite too. I love them all, I guess, maybe because I wrote them. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it? The tough. Hopefully it'll come out one day and I'll be the first in the view room.
I would say the title of my movie would be Journey of a Lifetime, because that's exactly what Parkinson's is. It's a journey. it's gonna last the rest of my life unless they find a cure, which I'm hopeful for. But I'm prepared to live my life without them finding a cure. It's a journey that has ups and downs, good days and bad days, twists and turns. Um, way more good days than bad days. I would say that for me. Way more good days than bad days. Way more good hours than bad hours. Um, it's an unexpected journey. Never thought I would be diagnosed with Parkinson's at any age, much less in my 40s.
Yeah.
But here I am, and it's rather than say why me, which I did say early on. Okay, I think that's pretty natural for people to say that. Um, but at some point I decided to look for reasons for hope and for change. And when I used to tell people early on that I had Parkinson's, I told them, I said, I'm not doing this for sympathy or for any other reason other than to educate.
Yeah, that's amazing and again, inspirational. So I appreciate that. Are there any areas that I didn't touch on that you wanted to bring up, or maybe you can share again how everyone can reach you?
Yes, so I can be reached for advocacy or for anything related to Parkinson's through my email address with the Hawai'i Parkinson Association, which is president@parkinsonshawaii.org. I also do personal training for people with Parkinson's as well, and that company is called Make It Happen Personal Training, and I can be reached there at makeithappen@glenhiga.com. It's Glen with one N, HIGA.com. And I do personal training both in person and if someone's listening or viewing away from the state of Hawaii or on another island for the state of Hawaii. I can also do training sessions virtually as well. So I can, yeah. So it's exercise has really helped me, and I feel like it saved my life. So I want to help others as well.
Well, I was a trainer also like 10 decades ago or something, many, many, many years, but I might have to sign up to have you help me because I'm getting better too due to back issues. But final question, if you could leave the Parkinson's community today, and you've actually answered this on our other interview, but if you could leave the Parkinson's community today with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
We are not alone. Okay? There are plenty of people that are willing to help you. There are plenty of resources available for health, whether it's exercise, whether it's medication, whether it's healthcare, whether it's social services, whether it's emotional or physical or mental rehabilitation. You are not alone. So I'm always available for anyone that wants to speak, talk out their feelings, talk out any issues that they might have with Parkinson's. Always open to talk to people.
Thanks. And
And there
everyone,
are other people that and there are other people that I know of that are also willing to do the same.
thank you. And everyone listening, please share this. Please support Glenn and the Parkinson's Hawaii Association, all they do, because again, without everyone in this fight, we're further from a cure, but I'm confident along with Glenn, with you all, we're definitely going to find a cure soon. So please support him. I have one last message for you, Glenn, everyone in Hawaii and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care about you. And as you said, you're never alone. I, along with Glenn, will advocate for you. And together, as you also said, our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started because I mean, honestly, when I saw your story several months ago and learn about Hawaii and how people there need more attention, awareness, you really, when my tough days come, you inspire me to keep going. And I want to thank you personally for that and for your friendship. And I feel that we'll have a lot more to do together because, as you know, the work's not done until we find a cure. So grateful for you, for your family, and the whole Hawaii community and globally. We guess again, I can't say it more, but we send our love and you, sir, are never alone.
Thank you, George. And one more thing, I
Please.
forgot to mention or neglected to mention is that I'm also available for speaking opportunities. So if you would like to have me speak at your support group or speak at your symposium or anything conference or anything, I am doing public speaking now, doing motivational speaking, and it's all about making it happen, turning your life around, and really finding the positive in in the darkness. So I'm available for that as well.
Well, you inspire me, so I'd hire you in 3 seconds. Do you also do the public speaking virtually? Because everybody out there, maybe you can also help. Yes, you do, right? The virtual too.
Yes, yes,
So there you
yes.
go. So everyone out there, please look into this, contact Glenn. I think he's an incredible speaker and he motivated me just in our short time together today. So again, I just want to thank you and the entire association for your time and support and love. And I want to thank everyone listening too. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son. We still have a lot of work to do until we find a cure, and really, you're never alone. But we are all, in my opinion, and always will be a family and a team in this. So thank you, Glenn. Thank you, family, and thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Please share this, support Glenn, and again, we'll definitely see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha.
I love it. Aloha.